Well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the E Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius Bryant, with my special co-host,
Cornelius Bryant Jr.
Cornelius Bryant Jr. Well, first of all, I have to apologize to all of my fans and all of my listeners because the past few months I haven't really been present on the show because, as some of you may remember, I got married. And so between getting married and all the prep for that, which is no excuse, I'm not an excuse maker, and then so last month we took off for almost the whole month of October. We were traveling around the world. And so, but now I'm back. And so we're going to be present not only the rest of this year, but next year we have a lot of good shows coming up, a lot of surprises. But you know, one thing that I really noticed that even when I traveled, the world is different, so many different places, but
Right.
there's one constant. You know what that is?
What's that?
Everybody's always on their phone.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody's always on their phone. I mean, we went to Turkey and, all these foreign countries, and wherever you are, somehow or another they have phones, so the good
yeah,
phone service in their area, but everybody's always on their phone.
yeah. That's the new normal.
That's the new
Yeah,
normal. Yeah, it's like, oh, we don't talk, and people are there, they're working, what have you. We go in the stores, and because their stores are different, they're privately owned, not like here, big box stores, and you go
yeah,
into all these little separate stores. We're in all the tourist town, of course, and you walk in, and the people are there. Everybody's on their phone. Then every now and then they look up and they'll say whatever they say in their language, and I have the translator on. So they say something, I ask them a question. Good morning, and I hit the translator,
right.
and so we're going back and forth, but it just everybody's on the phone,
Yeah,
talking, texting, and it's where's all the human interaction gone? Even in between doing what it is, and we were too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, and so that's the one thing. So it's just funny because when you think of different all these like Turkey and all these foreign countries and these little bitty places that we went, little islands, and we saw these ruins. So it was really good when you get the chance. I don't know if because you read the Bible, you're a Bible scholar, and when you read all these different places like Corinth, where Paul was in prison and all these things happened, to actually go there and walk that ground and see those
right,
ruins where those people were, it was quite an experience.
right. Yeah. I want me, Cordell, and Corlin to do that too, man. Well, right now, with certain places I want to go that I can't go right now,
Right.
but when all this stuff is over with, yeah, I want to visit those places.
Right. I mean, you're there, and the guides, they're telling you all the stories about this is where this happened at, and then you can go back to the scriptures and you read the scriptures,
Yeah,
and you can confirm it for yourself. So like, oh wow, and this is where this was, and you look,
yeah,
and you're just almost there. So now all these stories you hear, you go, yeah, that's far fetched or whatever. You can actually see it, the
yeah,
ruins and where all the stuff was destroyed at. In the Bible, they say, oh, this temple's gonna fall or what have you. Even we went to the Colosseum where they used to do all the gladiator stuff,
right.
and
Yeah, I know that makes everything more real for you, right?
it does, it
Yeah,
does. You're looking and you're reading these stories. And you goes, wow, this is where that happened, and they tell you where these little roads and all this stuff that they walk down, and you go, wow, this is it right here, where
right,
certain events occurred on this road, and you're thinking, wow,
right.
and you're looking, think, wow, you're actually there. So it was a good experience.
Right. Where is that at? Is it called Petra? That it
Petrus,
almost it almost looks like a castle built into a mountain.
we saw a lot of stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but there's all different kind of things over there. That's amazing. You think those things are like 4,000 years old or
Yeah.
something like that, and they're still standing.
Yeah, and also is evidence too. Like these folks were smart.
Right.
I believe it's Petra. It looks like kind of like a modern day almost design of how the White House looks in front, but it's inside of a mountain. So they built it, and this guy takes you all the way in there and everything. So it's like these people were ridiculously smart to be able to carve that from the outside in and make
Right.
that to where you can go in there. It's not falling and caving in and things like that. So, yeah, the way that history try to get us to look at how folks were back then, like as if we got smarter now. I think we were smarter then. You know what I mean? And it kind of got lost, and we kind of rediscovering stuff that these people already knew, type of thing. Just like those the Easter Island, the big old heads on Easter Island, things like that, and they wonder how these things got, how'd they get the rock on top of there, how'd they do that? Man, these folks were smart, man.
Right, because especially when you go and see some of the carvings and all that stuff,
Yeah.
the architecture, you're thinking, how did you do that without all the power tools and stuff that we use now?
Right.
And how long it took like 10, 20 years just to do one statue or what have you. And we even went to the Vatican.
Yeah.
I'm not Catholic, but still, just to see that, it was just amazing, all the effort and all the work that was put into it.
Yeah.
And you, like I said, you wonder for all the designs and the architectures, and it's been thousands of years, and it still is there, and all these things that are still there. So it was amazing, It really was.
Yep.
To stop and be there, and to think that these people, it's just like us. A lot of times, places that visitors or what do you call it, tourists come to see.
Yeah.
We pass by it every day. We don't even pay attention to it.
Right.
And so it's the same thing with them. They pass by every day. They're so used to it. That's what they've grown up around. So it's just no big deal to them because it's always there and they're always there. But, you come over there and you really get a chance to look at it and all that. So it was quite an experience. I would recommend, if anybody can, to go check it out at least once, just to see for yourself. But you made a statement about, we think we're smart now and what they did, because at their time it was top of the art stuff.
Yeah.
And then you learn the stories about how they had it built in other countries or nations came and tore it down and took all the gold and all the stuff like that.
Right.
And that goes back in a way to what we were talking about when we were talking about everybody having their phones.
Yeah.
Today we're much smarter for stuff like that goes.
Yeah.
But where at the same time, I believe for as life itself goes, where we're getting dumber in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
society's become idiotic.
right, because we don't hardly think for ourselves anymore. I mean, everything thinks for us.
Yeah.
So all we need to do is just have the right electronic equipment, and all we have to do is know how to ask the right questions, and it gives us the answers.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you were saying, that goes into our topic about the last 5 years of this pandemic thing, about thinking for yourself. I think during that time, a lot of folks didn't think for themselves.
No.
It's like at the beginning of the pandemic with the vaccinations.
Right.
I feel like the mandatory, how they tried to make that mandatory, that was ridiculous.
Well, yes, because the thing is if you think, it's almost like with measles, so to speak. Not that I'm for it or against it.
Yeah.
But from that point of view, it's almost like with measles. Before you had all these people dying from the measles, so then they came up with the vaccine for it to stop it. And so now people get measles, the measles vaccination, you're a kid, that's if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And so that put an end to that when you had just thousands of babies dying all the time. So I guess the assumption was that we'll do the same thing here.
Yeah.
The only difference is that now you're doing it to people who are grown.
Right.
And old enough to make a decision of whether you want it or not, but you made it mandatory. And so that's part of that. Even now they're constantly coming up with new things and boosters and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think the measles vaccination, I'm fine with that. That's something that's been proven to work. I think to try to take that back is kind of ridiculous. But with the pandemic vaccination thing, I look at it like, number one, that was experimental.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, so when it first came out, I feel like it should be left up to everybody's own personal decision. Now, in the beginning, I did it in the beginning. But my reasons for doing it is because they put it to us like, okay, this is going to stop it
Right.
stop you from dying, stop you from getting it, stop it from spreading, right? So I took into account, even though I didn't think that if I did got it, I really didn't think that I thought I would be all right. I would, I don't have any of those pre-existing things or anything like that. But the reason why I got it is when they, they pointed out, well, you can about getting it and then giving it to someone else, and then they pass away or something like
Right.
that. So I didn't want any of that. So that's why I got it. But then later on, it comes out, oh well, you can get this, and the fact is, you can still transmit it, you can still get it, and then folks will still passing away. And then with all that information, with us knowing all that, you're gonna still try to make it mandatory. That's there's no way you should do that, because in my mind, honestly, that's not even a vaccination. If I can still catch it and I can still transmit it and I can still, lose my existence over it, then what is it? You know what I mean? I don't know what I don't know what, I just look at it like this, man. Whatever, if it's something wrong that they did on purpose, God to get them for me, period.
Right.
But,
Right.
But I don't think you should make something in that context mandatory for everyone. It makes no sense. And then for the kids, I think the kids' likelihood of falling real ill from it was very low. So you want to force them to get it also. But when they came with the fact that the dude Fauci,
Your favorite.
this guy gets up there and says that didn't have the ability to mutate, right? He said it didn't have the ability to mutate. It wasn't going to be any other strands, whatever like that, but it did. And then when they hit us with, getting boosters, that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm not getting boosted. I'm not doing any of this stuff anymore.
You're not boosted?
Nah, man.
Oh man, 6 feet, 6 feet.
Right? It's like, dude, it's like once they came with this, now we got to get boosted. Now it's like a thing, like the flu shot. They want you to do this thing every year. It's like, dude, I'm done.
Right.
It's like you guys don't know what you're doing. I don't know. I mean, you do know what you're doing. We don't know what you're doing.
Right.
But you're not putting no more of that stuff in me, man.
Right. So that voluntary basis is good. I mean, I think it's good for some and not as good for others. And when you talk about going back to the pandemic, so that was in 2020.
Right.
And I noticed, like we were talking about, even with the modern house, everything's changed and everything's upgraded, and with our phones and all these different things. And I just started thinking, because if you go back to that time period, okay, so let's say from 2020, that's 5 years.
Yeah.
If you stop and think about all the things that's done happened in the last 5 years, I mean, from the pandemic to everything that we're going through now, the question is, our kids who are small then, because you say 5, let's say if you're in a 6th grade when it all happened, or younger. So that means you've done the pandemic stuff, you went through there, and so now you were at home, what was it, for 2 years before at least a year? Was it a year or 2 years before they went back to school?
I know it was at least a year, because Corlin, he missed this. I think it was a year, because he was in the 8th grade. I think when it started, he was home for the whole 9th grade. Yeah, when he started school, he was sophomore? I think it is. Yeah. So it was like a year. They missed a year of school.
A year. So for that whole year, you're sitting at home and you're learning from home. Then they came up with a good idea about from home, giving everybody computers or Chromebooks to do your work. And so going back from that time period up until now, we're going to talk about some things that change and where we're stuck at and where we're going, because a lot of time we think it only affected kids, but it affected us as humans too, like you said, with the all the stuff that went on and what was that? Were you talking about the shots?
Oh yeah, the mandatory shot thing. Well,
right.
And I think anything like that, whether it's then or in the future, anything that's just pop up on a spot that you haven't had time of years and years of research, it should always be voluntary.
Right.
Because it's an experiment, dude. I volunteered for this experiment, and then when it got out of hand with this talking about I need to get boosted, I opted out of the experiment. You can't force me to keep participating in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think it changed just regular behavior also, because I still see some people with the mask.
Right.
But now even when I greet people, well, I think it's kind of wearing off now. But when it was first over with, especially that first year, I was cautious on how I was, trying to respect the other person. Like, I don't know if you cool with a handshake, a adapt or how you what it is you
Or
comfortable
foul,
with.
or-
Yeah, you know, like that type of thing. So I'm conscious of that now. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Okay. Well, we're going to take a commercial. On the other side of this commercial, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some things back then and there. And we're almost in a societal hangover.
yeah.
Not only but with us, but it's like a hangover for the world,
Yeah.
especially here in the United States. So we're going to talk about that when we come back on the other side of this commercial. E Factor Radio Show. We'll be back in something minutes and something seconds.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor Radio Show. And when we stopped, we were talking about these different things and that happened during the pandemic. And like we were talking about the phones when we started off.
Right.
And so we're just going to do a brief recap of what happened. Like you said, when everything was shut down and everybody's at home. And I said it was a good idea when they came up with the Chromebooks because I know the kids were in school, so they had Chromebooks so they continued their education.
Right.
But during that time period, something else happened. We lost, in a way, we lost our way as humans. Because now, even now to this day, we spend more time, myself included sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, we spend more time on our electronics, our phones or whatever. It's not just to talk or text people, but that's become millions of people's best friend.
Yeah. And that's a bad thing, especially with the AI. I feel like with this, like you saying, the AI chat, whatever.
Yeah.
I think, and it would have not just affected children, but adults. I believe that a lot of folks are in the near future that's going to become their companion, their best friend type of thing, so that they don't have to deal with, socializing with folks. Because I think during the pandemic, a lot of folks. Well, I see a lot of young people now, man. They, not all. I'm gonna just, but I see a lot of young folks. It seems like they don't even know how to conversate anymore.
Right.
I go places and I watch people's interactions, and it's just odd. You know what I mean? And I think especially probably with the young kids, I was somewhere. I was over a friend's house, and they had this little young dude. Man, he probably was, I don't know, man, maybe between 5 and 7, and between maybe 7 and 9, something like that. And so the girl was telling me that ever since the pandemic, that the dude he didn't act right because he had spent so much time not around other kids that it affected him socially. When I think it did that same thing with grown-ups too.
It did, because I know a lot of people. I don't know too many people, but I know quite a few people. They haven't left the house maybe a few times, depending on what happened, since 2020. Because they started working from home, and you know you work from home. You have your groceries delivered to you. Everything you need, it comes to you now.
Right.
And so you don't have to go out.
Right.
And a lot of people, they haven't been out in so long, and they've lost the social skills themselves. I mean, it's easy when you talk about young kids because they never had developed them to that point. But we're talking about a person just completely reversing. Whereas before, you went out and you went to work and all this stuff, and you had to you know, interact with people. But now you found this safe haven at home, and everything is all about online. You know, you work at home, you do all this stuff at home, you don't leave home. And so once you do leave out the door, it's almost like if you're an alien in another world, you know, you just can't wait to get back to the house.
Right.
Yeah, you can't wait to get back to the house. And we say things like, oh, well, you know, even like I know a friend of mine, she was working from home. She's been working from home for the last 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But her company said, you know, from now on, we want everybody back in the office.
Yeah, they going back to that now.
Right. We want everybody back in the office. And she's just in a frenzy, like, oh, you know, I can't go back now. I have to do this. I have to drive. I have to do all these things. And, you know, it's going to cost me all kind of money to go back, whereas before you did it. But now you're so comfortable in that little area of yours, so you just, you're suffering.
Yeah.
Thinking of having to go back out in the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's good in a way that you can work from home, but yet it de-develops our human touch with each other.
Yeah.
You know, me, I'm the kind, I just like being in front of people, around people. You know, I like to talk to people. They probably like, oh, don't talk to me again. But anyway, that's what I like. I like interacting in person.
Yeah. Me, myself, I don't like being around a lot of folks, but what you was describing, that's not a healthy thing either.
Right.
You know what I mean? See, these are people that are I guess becoming shut-ins. Mm-hmm. You know, they sitting in the house not doing like literally anything. Like if I don't like being around a lot of folks, but coming outside to work, coming outside to hit the gym or like do some type of family stuff, I'm fine with. But they're taking it to a different extreme to where it's unhealthy.
Right.
But I can do without a whole bunch of human folks around me. You know?
Well, we have our engineer Joe here, so I'm just going to ask Joe briefly. How do you are you a in-person person or a behind-the-scene person? Behind? Yeah. You don't like going out in the world? A little bit? Yeah. Oh, okay. See, that's good. That's always good when you want to go out and hang with people and socialize with people, have a drink or two.
Yeah.
You know, but then you develop friends, and what you do when you do that is you're filling a need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe it or not, you're not only feeling a need for yourself, but you're feeling a need for someone else.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs to have some kind of contact, because that's what we were wired to do.
Right.
We weren't wired to sit at home all day on our phones and what have you and all this stuff. We were wired to go out and talk with each other and interact with each other.
And I'm fine if it's a family, like you know, I got a couple close friends or whatever. I'm fine with hanging out and mingling, you know, with them. You know, what we were describing earlier was a person that's going to the extreme of it just being unhealthy. I want to just sit in the house. I don't want to exercise. They just in there letting themselves go. So that's the unhealthy part of it. So if me and a person, if we cool, we close, you want to go do something, I'm fine with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, like that, and of course, you know, hit the gym, something like that. But yeah, now people have gotten to a point to where it's just it's an unhealthy one to be in and be detached from everything.
Right. They goes, oh, I get my interaction. I always have Zoom meetings. So your interaction with other people is during a Zoom meeting.
Right.
Or what is that? All the other things that you have. No, me, I go places, and I just can't sit in the house. If I'm in the house all day, I can't do it. If I don't care if I have to get up and go to the store or something but I have to get out the house.
Yeah.
At least for a short time every day. I just can't sit in the house all day. Even I'm a big sports fan, so you know, you can have like on Sundays the football game starts in the morning and ends at night. But
Right.
I have to pause it or record it at some point and just get out the house and
Yeah.
see other people and talk to them. If it's nothing else but hey, how you doing or something like that. But I'm not a in-house person like that, and
Yeah.
so with my personality, if I was having to stay in, it would almost be like a isolated prison sentence
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah. I think what a lot of people have done is once you allow yourself to get used to something, it just becomes a cycle.
Right.
They'll probably then got to the point where they drain. They don't want to go out, and because they don't want to go out, they get more drained, and it's just like this whole almost a slight depression they done let themselves slip into, and don't want to do anything. But yeah. Well, and another thing with the vaccination, with the pandemic thing, is I've seen people. I have a friend. She got COVID, so then she got vaccinated, so then she got COVID again. So that goes back to my whole thing of you can't force something like that on someone.
Right.
And maybe that's the thing with some of the people that want to stay in the house. Maybe they still afraid of going out. Like I said, I've seen people in traffic in the car by themselves and have a mask on.
Right. I've seen
So-
that many
so-
times with a
so-
mask on and gloves on their hand.
Yeah.
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 It's because maybe they think when they go out, they have the mask on because even though they're out in public, if other people don't have a mask on, and then once you get home, you take the mask off, and so now all the germs, everything you came in contact with while you're out, that stops it from getting in your system, and you throw the mask in the trash, so your
Yeah.
worries are fewer.
Yeah, and you know what? I had a friend of mine. This is a guy that I used to always get advice from when I had my rig, that I lost during the pandemic. Right, that's one of the big things that happened at that time. But so him and his wife, they went on vacation, and so of course as a couple they're around each other doing what couples do. This dude, he got it, and she never got it. So that was just a weird thing. I heard a lot of stories of people being in close proximity of each other, and one person get it and the other person don't.
Well, just like the flu or a cold,
Yeah,
you go out there and you catch a cold, and people they come home with it,
yeah,
and most of it is like when you're kids, right? They go to school, they catch a cold,
yeah,
so they come home, and they give all the family the cold.
yeah,
And then somebody doesn't get it. So it's weird how things happen like that.
yeah. I know
Excuse me.
once I went back during that time. I went back to the neighborhood, man. I went to visit, and it was just a bunch of people there. And I walked in there. I was like, dude, this looks crazy, man. I'm like, I'm not coming back here.
Right,
You know,
right.
I left. I'm like, dude, and from that, one person did. Later on, I found out somebody did get it, and they didn't make it. So
Right, right. And because everything does, it plays with your mind.
yeah,
No matter what it is, everything affects your mind. So be it COVID or whatever the things is, it has some type of effect on your mind.
yeah,
And then your mind is a funny thing because it'll send you into spirals or depression or paranoia or anything. And you're just like, wow. And then you look at yourself and you think, what happened to me?
yeah,
I didn't used to be like this, but then it takes over you and you fight it because now everything's about therapists. Everybody has a therapist for whatever. What's wrong? Oh, I got to go see a therapist. Oh, I need to talk to someone. I need a therapist. Oh, little Johnny's acting up. Oh, we got to take him to a therapist, get him help because now we've become so dependent on, like you say, vaccinations and our technology and stuff, to whereas our resilience as a human being is just breaking down. It's breaking down.
yeah,
And then there's so many times we have to fight for things so hard, no matter what it is. Now it's become like almost a struggle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. During that time, I was never one of those folks, those crazy folks that was thinking that it was made up, that it didn't exist. And a lot of those folks, they ended up catching it, pass away, whatever. So I always knew they exist. I never let it bother me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if it's something that's like basically out of my hands, I don't worry about it.
Right.
Because there's no point in it. And I never was one of those, like when it first jumped off and they wanted us to wear the mask, I went ahead and wore the mask or whatever, because they trying to figure out what's what. And then after a while, when they said we didn't have to wear the mask, I didn't wear it, but either way, I just never was super worried about being afraid to go outside because of it. I just figured if you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. You know what I mean? And then if you can, you can be super, super cautious and just, in one slip up, because there's people that try to not be around other folks, and you can just let that one person in, right? And they done, and you still catch it. So,
Yep. Life is funny. I mean, things happen. We can't explain why, and certain people to who. Even now, I know people we're talking about with the government shutdown because of, and with the medical and all that stuff, people are fighting for their life, and you have all these things, and people are like, oh well, we don't want to pay for your medical or what have you. Like you said, that all stemmed from the pandemic and just things that are going on with medical insurance and the high cost of it. It's hard because even though I know I had to go to the doctor, and so when I get there, they want to know about your insurance, this and that, and all that. And by the time they finish asking you about your insurance, like I've been here for 2 hours just going back and forth with insurance. You go in the room, and what help am I getting?
Right.
What help am I getting? That 2 hours could have been used to get me in there, do whatever I need doing,
Right.
and get me out and get someone else in there.
Right.
And so many times, just little things that's distracting that sends us back in, I'll say like a funk, so to speak, a funk. And then you go home and what do? You're there by yourself. There's no one to talk to. You jump on your phone, your computer, you're researching. And sometimes I research on my computer, but between the time I start to the time I finish, I'm totally distracted. I'm not even thinking about what I started out for.
Right.
And now you get all these pop-ups and all these different things coming up and distractions. Like, wow, you look up and 3 hours has passed by and you're just sitting there wasting time.
I've had my notifications for Facebook and Instagram. They've been off for like probably almost 2 years. The only time I go on there, if I am sitting somewhere like waiting for something, I'll check on there, go on there real quick or something like that, because you get caught up real quick. There's been little instances where I'll get on there, I'll scroll, and man, I look up 3 hours and went, because been looking at all these reels, because a bunch of them be just goofy, but then some will be actually interesting. So I keep scrolling until I see one that's good, and then I'll see like, dude, I gotta go to sleep, man. I've been doing this, for the last 3 hours. But
okay, but 5 more minutes, I'll stop.
Yeah, it get addictive. But yeah, so my notifications are off. You know what I mean? So only if a person sends me like a direct message on Facebook will it alert me. That'll still alert me. But like when folks be this person just did a story or this person posted, I don't get none of that.
I don't even get one on direct message because it just like people used to call me or text me. Now they're direct messaging me. I like, okay, they goes, oh, I was trying to do this or that. Well, when? Oh, like a month ago. I goes, I don't remember you calling. No, I direct message you. I goes, no, call me or text me.
Yeah.
Because then you're sitting at your phone and all this stuff is going on. You're becoming distracted. And then once you get into that, now you get into other stuff. And, then some people just like watching the news. Some people are glued to the news all day. Yeah. They suffer from depression because they're hearing all this depressing news about this and that, and everything they hear, they believe.
Yeah.
That they believe everything they hear.
Yeah, and that, man, the news, man, I don't know how it was maybe 20 years ago, whatever, but as it is now, recently, a lot, you gotta double check all that stuff. I don't, now when I listen to, well, really, I haven't been watching news lately, period. I've been in my own little zone. I only started back watching the news the other day when you told me about coming on the show and about what we were going to talk about, because I had been like away from all that stuff. But now the news likes to take little clips, little sound bites, and then create a narrative of what they want you to think about what this person just said in this little 10 seconds of video that they showed you. So if I see something or somebody tells me like, hey, Cornelius, this person said this or this person thinks that, yada, yada, yada. So I'm gonna ask you, well, where's the proof? And even if you show me the video, if I watch the news and I see what they do, take this little 10-second clip, I'm gonna go back and pull up the whole video. Because a lot of times when you go back and pull up the whole video, you see that the news done took what this person done said out of context. So you gotta watch it with that. And I can see why a person sit at home, be depressed watching the news, may tell you a bunch of lies.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, tell me the news and don't tell me what I should think about the news.
Right.
You
Well,
know what I mean?
that's manipulation. That's
Yeah.
electronics manipulation, TV, electronics, what have you. And all that stuff sets us up for depression and all these things because, the more you sit there and now you're getting all these different views from everybody's point of view. So that's if I don't like you, of course, whatever I say about you is going to be something negative.
Yeah.
And so now Joe meets you and he doesn't like you because I fed him all these negative things about you.
Yeah.
And it may not be true, but this is my point of view of you because, I don't like you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add to whatever the story is to make it seem even worse for him to think of you and see you in a different way.
Yeah, and that goes back to what you were saying earlier about folks not thinking now. People hear something, they take it and run with it. You know what I mean? If somebody tell me something about you, right, especially if it sounds like off the wall, I'm not just going to run with it. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask them to show me proof, or I'm going to come talk to you directly and not just, but what a lot of folks do, they'll hear something and they just go tell this person, that person, the other, and they do the same thing, and you got a bunch of misinformation going on around. That's the time we living in now.
Right.
Like our reality is just an illusion because it's made up of lies. You know what I mean? I even heard, this was some years ago. You met my boy Reggie, right? So it was something that happened around this dude's house. It was some way out stuff. It was on the news, car chase, whatever. And so the news folks, they described what they said happened, And so then I'm talking to him the next day. I'm like, man, I seen this on the news. It's right there by your house. He was like, man, I was there, man. I said, he said, and everything the news had reported about the situation was wrong. Whether they did it on purpose or however it was just a whole different thing of what actually happened, what brought that situation to being how it became what it was. You know what I mean? So even then, I started realizing then, like, dude, so if my boy hadn't been there, I'd have been thinking, this is why that happened. So how many more things have I watched on the news that these people done put a twist towards an outright lie?
Well, the thing you have to realize is it's just like this radio show. We want people to listen to the show, so we have to bring stuff that's interesting them to come to the show. So if they listen to it once or twice and nothing you say interests them, they'll go to another show or they'll do something else. So you got to make it worth their while or something they want to hear. And so you have 50 different news stations, and they want you to look at their news. And so what they'll do, they'll tell you stuff like that. Oh, this happened, and, stay tuned for it. And so you're sitting during the whole news thing because you're waiting to hear that, and they'll say it at the end, be it true or not. So they blow it up, and they make it different because they want you to listen to their particular station. So it's almost in a way like a TV show. You want to have this great TV show so viewers will keep coming back over and over again.
Yeah.
So even though it's not reality, but you keep doing it like, what's that movie, Furious, the car chase movie?
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious 25.
Yeah.
So if you want to go watch the next movie, you got to make it more exciting than the last one.
Yeah.
So now you have cars that jumps and goes through the river and all this stuff because it has to be something different and more exciting to draw in the viewers. It's the same thing with radio. With the news, all that stuff it manipulates.
Yeah.
Then it gets us to it. And then you're sitting there watching it. Then you feed all that stuff into your mind, into your body. And so just like we talk about the AI, guy goes on AI, this is like jumping back and forth, but still, he's telling AI about his problems and all that stuff. And AI tells him, hey, you know what? your life is so sad and pitiful. Your best option is to kill yourself.
Right.
And he did.
Yeah.
And so it's, the people are, his family is suing the company right now because we sit here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know
we
what?
sit
My
here.
bad about even laughing about that. That really did
Yeah,
happen.
that really did
Yeah,
happen,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so
yeah, yeah.
we sit here and we take all these things in, and like you were saying about how much smarter the people were back then, to a degree, we're smarter for us being able to do technology and stuff.
Yeah.
But our common sense is at a different level, and we're weak, and we just feed ourselves with all these things. And if you, depending on your point of view, you're taking it in, and people say, oh, well, he was only a kid. No, he was a teenager, but we have grown people who you say they should know better. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You're sitting there doing the same thing. This becomes your everything, You look forward every day when you go home to sitting there chatting with this person. It's your computer, you're chatting with it, and, they're giving you advice, and you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
And all these things. So that's just a different part of a different way of news or communicating to you to feed into you.
Yeah.
And so it's hard not to do it because, like I was saying, I'm on here, I'm doing actual work. I was really working. And I went to research something. And next thing I know, all kind of other stuff start popping up. And I'm like, wow, and I'm just sitting there. Next thing you know, hours pass by. I'm like, oh, man, I forgot what even I was supposed to be doing.
Right. And another thing with the news thing is, a lot of people, if you telling a person what they want to hear, they don't care. They won't if they already don't like a person or they already have this certain point of view, when you feed that information to them, they don't want to go check it out anyway because they just want it to be true. They just run with it. I think a lot of that's going on, and a lot of people are being painted in a bad light that aren't what the media try to project them to be. I got a lot of folks that I dig that I know a lot of people don't. And it's because of what they hear. But the reason I dig them is because when the media was calling all these folks racist, it's like, dude, everyone's racist. I got people darker than me that's racist. This is crazy, right? So when I researched all these folks myself, I come to find out, dude, these folks ain't racist, man. I get where they coming from. They ain't said nothing wrong, but they already have been painted a certain way. And once it's a saying, it's like, once you've tricked a person, it is harder to untrick them now. Once you've got them to believe something that's wrong, it's even harder now to get them to believe the truth. So when the certain folks that I'll listen to, that I'll watch, if I mention these people to other folks, they either get upset or they just refuse to even listen to them. It's like, nah, I've heard this, and so I'm just, because they've already formed their opinion off of misinformation, and so they won't even though I got proof that, man, this person, whether it's a him, her, whatever, they didn't say that or this is, nah, man, I don't watch that, man.
Right. Now they don't like you.
Yeah.
And that Cornelius, man, you can't believe this. He's a, and now you're
I done had a couple. We cool, but and that's kind of how you know you got a true friend, when y'all able to disagree and still be cool after that. So I've had a couple little fallouts over how I think with some people, but we still cool. But and they still to this day they haven't listened to what I just, sometimes you gotta agree to disagree.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
That's it.
So, and I think a lot of, obviously in this country, a lot of that's not going on. A person being able to just say, you have your point of view, I have a mine, and we walk away from it.
Right.
Folks now, they got their point of view, you got yours, and folks is getting gunned down behind stuff.
Clashes and all that stuff. That's really unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the way. That's what it is, though. But yep, so we're back. We're just touching on these different things. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk a little bit about some things that's coming up. We'll be back, and so and so and so and so.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation, or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius, with my special guest host,
Cornelius Jr.
All right. Yeah, we've been talking about just different things. You know, we're kind of here, we're kind of there. But when I started off, I was telling you and Joe about when I traveled to these different countries. And I remember, I'm getting off subject now, but you guys roll with me. I remember when I was young, I was watching this movie. It was a gangster movie, one of the old mafia movies. And so the guy was talking to the younger guys, and he was older. He told them that right now, you're worried about this and you're worried about that. He goes, but one day, the only thing you're going to be worried about is if you can make it to the bathroom in time.
Right.
You know, if you can make it to the bathroom in time. And so, of course, I'm 64 now. You know, you two are a little younger, you and Joe, you guys are younger. But now I understand what he was talking about. Because when I went to some of those countries, their bathroom situation is different than ours. And so I went, you know, you're using the restroom. He goes, okay, I'll just wait and get it at the next stop.
Yeah.
And so the next stop finally came. It's like, I got to go now. And I get there, and I finally get in line after this line and get to the bathroom. But you have to pay to use it. You have to pay to use the bathroom. And so I had money, but I didn't have their money.
Right.
So now here I am. I'm trying to go and get this €1 to pay for the restroom. And by the time I get the money, and I went and got the money from my wife, give me €1, I got to use the bathroom.
Right.
You know, and by the time I went back, now the line is twice as long.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there like a kid. I'm praying, God, just let me make it. Just let me make it.
Right.
Just let me make it. Just let me make it. You know, then I finally get there and give them the €1. And by the time I got there, it was already too late. And so I thought about that movie right away.
Yeah.
When a man said after you get a certain age, you just hope you can make it to the bathroom in time.
Yeah.
You know? And so I say that to say this, that next year, one of our special guests is going to be Dr. James Ivey. And he's going to explain a little bit about men's health for us.
Right.
Because, you know, no one really cares right now because you're younger, Joe's young. But as you get older, you'll start learning about what the man meant.
Yeah.
And so that's just some things that we'll do. You know, we're going to throw a little educational, little helpful things in here to help our viewers. 'Cause, you know, like I said, this is 25 years now with KCAA Radio, and things are expanding, and we want to expand with them.
Right.
And so that's just going to be one of the things that we're going to have. And we're also going to have some special education because I'm a part now of the high desert. You know, that's like high desert. I mean, when you go up the hill, Hesperia, Victorville, and all those places, So we're gonna set up a studio up there that where we're gonna record, but we're gonna sit in here. So we're gonna have different things that we're expanding into on the show, and so it's gonna be really good and interesting to watch. And we're gonna something that we've been trying to do for over a year. We're gonna have, I don't know if everyone remember my dog Bullet. Remember Bullet Joe? So we're gonna have a doggy show.
Okay.
We're gonna have a special guest star, Bullet the dog, with his dog friends.
Right.
And so we're gonna have an actual dog show where people can come and bring their dogs, and we're gonna sit there, and we're gonna do a show about dogs.
Okay.
Riff, riff, riff. See, and then the cat people are like, oh, why don't you do something with cats? Because I don't have a cat.
Right.
I have a dog, so that's why we're gonna do it about dogs. Yeah, so we're gonna be entertaining, educational, and informative all in one. But anything else you want to say before we go? Because our time is closing out. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna switch something because last time we were here with when we were doing the show, the mate show, and Joe told us last time about his expectations here. Okay, and so it was interesting. I got some comments about that, but we started off with Evelyn, with her looking for a mate, and I remember you had came on and you told the people that you were single. So my question is, are you still single?
Yeah, I'm still single. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, you're still single. Joe, you still single? Joe, so both these eligible bachelors are still single and they're ready. So if ever, you ladies out there want to reach out to them and, do a little more intensive, what do you call it? It's not wouldn't be dating. It would be like an interview you. Would it be interviewing you? or signing up for an interview? What would you call that? Meeting? Okay, that's good enough. Meeting. Quite simple. All right. Meeting them. You can email us at info@theefactorradio.com. info@theefactorradio.com. And then I'll pass it along to them. Evelyn had a couple of people, but they weren't part of the group that she was looking for.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the thing. While we on the subject, people have this misconception that and try to discourage young people from marriage and certain things like that, and then thinking that they need to run around and have fun while they're young. But it's total opposite, man. The older you get, the harder it is to find somebody that you can really communicate with and gel with like that. Because the older you get, the more set in your ways. I guess you can say untrusting and things like that. So when people are young and they move from relationship to relationship, what they do is accumulate a bunch of baggage of damage. It makes it harder for them to find someone. So that's probably part of the reason why. Because Evelyn, she's a good-looking girl, but when you get to our age, a lot of times you got. Well, I know how I ended up my age in single. I don't know how everybody else ended up that way or whatever, but you get to a certain age, it's like, dude, you're dealing with all the leftovers, man. You know what I mean? You're dealing with all the leftovers, man. You gotta hope you find, I don't know, maybe some widow man that recently widowed good woman. You get what I'm saying, or vice versa, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I got this older and ended up single because I needed to when I moved out to Lake Elsinore. It was like a starting over thing, and so I needed to get get myself together before I go out and be trying to find some find the right woman. You know what I mean? So during that time, any woman would do. You know what I mean? But trying to find the right woman, you got to be at a certain point. You feel me?
Right.
So that's how I got here. But a lot of folks, it's from either being crazy or you keep doing something goofy over and over again. You know what I mean?
Well, we don't open up a whole new can of worms here. But I tell you what, our time is out, so we're gonna go. But we will be back with our special guest host, and you know what? We're gonna see if we can get Evelyn to come back, and we're gonna talk about that stuff. And maybe just one more young lady who's not so young anymore. Last time I tried to get one to come on, but they didn't want to come on and say why they're still single. but we'll dig into it later. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll be back later in a couple of weeks with the E-Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius, with my special guest host,
Cornelius Jr.
and Joe, our amazing engineer. Goodbye.
The Legacy. Southern California's KCAA, the #1 talk radio station in the Inland Empire.
It's that time of year again. No, not the holidays. Medicare open enrollment. And if you
There is always an entourage of younger, good-looking women around Trump, all dressed the same, and all who basically look the same. During his criminal trial, the Stormy Daniels trial, he was obviously convicted on all 34 counts, but afterwards,